Hello, this is the French Whisperer. I am talking to you from China, here to soothe your nerves. No, I'm not the French Whisperer. My name's Sean. I'm an American teacher in China. I've been in China for almost 10 years now, and I'm currently located in Fujian province. Fujian province is along the southern coast of China, and it's kind of directly across from Taiwan. I'm in a small village. I would say a small city called Jinjiang, really kind of located just outside of kind of the bigger city of Chuanzhou. There. Currently my complex is under lockdown. Most cities are, most apartment complexes are experiencing the same thing, where you have kind of one gate to go in and out of, and they check your temperature daily when you're doing so. I just kind of want to go over my latest developments here. I'm going to try and do these maybe every 2 days so I can get some work done. Exactly. It's really difficult for me to get these videos up because of issues with the VPN and issues with my PC, which I'm trying to fix, but it's kind of difficult to do so right now. One of the reasons of that is because Taobao has kind of been out of, like I said, I'm in a small village outside of really any city, so I don't really have access to a lot of things that you would find in a bigger city. Not that you would have much access at this point, but Taobao is kind of the way I can receive a lot of equipment and things I need. But Taobao has kind of been out of service for the last 3 weeks now, and I'll talk a little bit about that more as we go through some of these developments. Let's take a look at the first one. Yesterday, I wanted to go to the school. I've been staying in my apartment for like days now, for the most part. But yesterday I had spoke with a colleague at the school. I was looking to get the textbook for next semester, so maybe I could start to put my lessons together for that. So they said they were going to be at the school yesterday, and I could get textbooks then. So I decided to go down there, and what I found out was this one difficulty arose, was that you need a new ID. You needed to get an ID like this, which was kind of a new thing, just to come and go here. So I had to go through the whole sort of process of getting that and talking to my landlord and seeing what was up. But I did get it, so everything's good there. I'm currently sort of still sweating out my contract. I'll talk a little bit about that when I talk a little bit about some of the issues I'm seeing with force majeure. But I walked down to school. Now I was late because of the ID, but I did meet my colleague outside the gate, and apparently they weren't really letting anybody into the school. I asked a little bit about, if school would be starting. It's scheduled for February 16th, but I'm seeing that most cities and the government, I believe the central government has ordered it to be delayed until March. So I got a notice today concerning that, saying that that it would not commence on February 16th. They did not know when it would commence, but they would give us notice 1 week prior to school commencing. But I met my colleague down there, and she gave me a textbook. She gave me a couple of masks, which I wish she hadn't. I wish she kind of kept them for herself. I don't really see. We froze up. I don't really see a point to the disposable mask right now. I mean, that's if you have that kind of ability to maintain disposable masks. What I've heard is that, what I've been reading in some of the articles I'm looking at is that bleach is an effective disinfectant. Dettol is also an effective disinfectant. So what I'm doing is just kind of washing I have kind of a mask that I'm washing the filters, constantly drying them out with a little bit of bleach. So what else is going on? So I went down there. I got to go to the supermarket because there's a supermarket located down there. Wetmark is still open, but they restricted all kind of passage through there to one entrance also. I got some groceries while I was down there. This I thought was kind of funny. that they have Corona. And one of the last places I would expect to see Corona. They actually had quite a display of it. So the Corona is spreading, but the beer is definitely Corona. The Corona beer is also spreading. I was quite surprised because that's really kind of, it's uncharacteristic of where I'm living now to see something like this kind of foreign beer in such a large quantity. Is really kind of unusual, and I would say uncharacteristic of where I'm living right now. I thought it was kind of like, what? Yeah, Corona beer. What else is going on? So I'm working on my lessons right now. I'm working on my lessons right now. Oh, no, that's what I want to talk about next. Taobao, right? Taobao has been kind of shut down ever since, first of all, it went on break because of Spring Festival. And I had ordered a few items like 3 or 4 days ahead of Spring Festival, hoping I would get them before they shut down, but unfortunately weren't able to. So these items have kind of been in limbo for weeks now. Like just breakdown, not far, they're in their last sort of leg. And so I'm kind of wondering if I actually received something today. I actually received my foot insoles. I had foot insoles and I had this boonie hat. And I'm kind of waiting to see what the outcome is going to be with these two items. I actually got the insoles today, surprisingly enough. They had been sitting there for weeks. They had been sitting for weeks just down the road waiting to be delivered, but I received them today. I also have an item coming from the United States that I had ordered prior to this, so I'm kind of curious to see. It's being Amazon is telling me it's out for delivery right now, so I'm kind of curious to see if I'm going to receive that today. Really just a pair of sandals. I use Tevas here, and my Tevas were giving way after 2 years, and I finally decided to get some new ones, and I was surprised to see that Amazon delivers to China, so I ordered them. Not expecting this sort of occurrence, and now they are scheduled to be delivered today. So I'll be quite amazed if I receive them. What else? So anyway, this is my boonie hat here. You see here that they have a notice here that things have kind of, they're going through different procedures. Another thing I'm noticing, since I was outside most of the day yesterday, or I got outside yesterday, and I've noticed this like just when the outbreak first occurred, was that like I'm seeing a lot more strays, and I thought that was kind of, get this thing up here. Where are we? There we go. A lot more stray dogs, and what I'm surprised to see is that they're kind of grouping up, like all the stray dogs, they kind of are banding together here. Like I saw this pack of stray dogs. There's a little dog over here barking at one. One dog was up on the road here. You can't see him. He's up where that white gate is. And there was a little black dog here. You can just see him on that little mound there. He was barking at it, but they had banded together, and I thought it was kind of interesting because I saw another pack of dogs. And it's funny because it's like the Isle of Dogs or something, that movie by Anderson. You see just these like various mixed breeds, these little these little, pocketbook dogs, and these bigger dogs are kind of like banding together and roaming different areas. There was this one pack that I saw. It was kind of funny. They were just like maybe 10 dogs all packed running together, and they all went through this little hole in a wall in its construction site. And but I do think people are they don't know they can't really take care of their dogs. They can't take them out for walks. They can't do anything with them, so they're just letting them go. Which is odd because I had done a video on my channel, the Dollar Store Dentist. I had done a kind of a spoof on the nature shows based on the stray dogs I was seeing around here in my town. There's 3 or 4 stray dogs that I would see every day, and I was like, let me do like a spoof on these nature shows, And unfortunately, one of the dogs, there was a German Shepherd that was just really it was in really rough shape. It was all kind of diseased, and it just ended up, it chose this corner, this road, um, very much out in the open, very, not, you always hear that animals will find a secluded place to die, but this one chose a corner of a road that was right, like one of the heavier trafficked areas, I would say, in our neighborhood to die. And it was quite sad to see. Um, but I decided to do a little sort of spoof video on nature shows, and how they have sort of how it's okay for them to be detached from the events of nature. We're going to take that same approach, and but the thing is, like, after that, like, all those dogs disappeared. Like dogs I had been seeing every day kind of just went about their daily lives without any sort of interview. People seemed to be fine with them, for the most part. Or took little notice or recognition of them. And one little dog had pups and things like that. And they all disappeared. They all were gone after a week after that. But now I guess they've replenished them. Now all the stray dogs are getting replenished now. I don't know. I actually saw a guy, prior to that, I did see a guy with a dog on his bike that was dead, a dead dog on his bike. What else? So I'm just kind of sitting around working on my lessons in my apartment. Let me knock these down. Working on the doctors. I thought I would start off the semester, because I didn't really know where the textbook is going to start off, what kind of subjects we're going to be talking about right off the bat. So I decided to do an at the doctor's office. I'm going to try and do it for my different levels, 5th grade, 6th grade, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I'm going to try and do a little bit of a lesson on that. I'm going to talk a little bit about symptoms, cough, sneeze, I have or I feel. Talk about a doctor and a patient, going to a doctor, what a doctor might give you, things like that. Just setting up games, got the listening done, got the phonics sections done, got, putting it together. They take a while to put together, and then you have to sort of like delineate what kind of information you want to convey, what kind of vocabulary is essential, so on and so forth. So it's time consuming. What else I want to talk about? With the strays there, I have some friends that I talk about, that I speak with on Facebook, that are, they're big time pet advocates. they're big time pet advocates, and I'm always have to sort of be aware of their sensitivities when I'm talking about things like stray dogs and things like that. So as not to sort of exploit certain reactions, I guess you would say. What else I got? Some notes here, looking at them. My family. I'm speaking. I've been speaking with my family for the period of time I've been in China these last 2 years, and it's kind of odd, because I was speaking with my aunt, and like all summer she was like, "Oh, you warning me about the ammonia, warning me about the ammonia. How do you feel? Ammonia. So I kind of feel it's kind of weird now that this outbreak happened, considering our prior conversations. Let's take a look at some of the articles I'm looking at here now. Some interesting things going on that I think are relevant. I see that the base there are flipping out or something. The coronavirus, as some Americans prepare to leave, workers on face harassment, which is, that's nutsy cuckoo to me. Certainly, I wouldn't blame the community for being, for taking, for wanting to have. I wouldn't blame the community for wanting to take precautions, but harassing people is out of line, or what I consider to be a proper civil conduct, I guess you would say. Yeah, civil conduct. Other things, it's people. I guess we're being harassed. Not even people, just people working on the base around the people who are quarantined are being harassed to some extent. That's not really the kind of conduct I would endorse and support by any means. But I would certainly say it's they're in their rights to take precautions and being concerned. Other thing, the force majeure issue, I know I spoke about this concerning my own contract as an issue that I think would sort of be, would be reason enough, this outbreak would be reason enough to claim force majeure. I couldn't find the correct wording. I'm not a lawyer, but I did know the clause existed in most sort of business contracts, and I see some people are claiming force majeure with their obligations and their transactions. I'm seeing a lot of some French companies down here. China's gas company, French Oil, Total, copper smelter. So you're seeing some companies, claiming it's some of the Chinese that are exporting and some of the companies that are importing are also claiming force majeure. And I would say anybody who's offering services now in China are also, it's also applicable. I couldn't understand, because they certainly, the government, unforeseen acts of government. Let's say here. How is force majeure endured? These clauses are sometimes cut and paste, not reviewed as carefully as they ought to be. Force majeure clauses rarely mention diseases, but more frequently provide relief in the event of unforeseen acts of government. Chinese authorities have ordered lockdowns and closed factories in the wake of the coronavirus, so the act of government language could allow some firms to invoke force majeure, she said. So under those circumstances, legal experts say that the coronavirus likely qualifies, but any company invoking force majeure would need to show that it is effectively impossible to perform their contractual duties as a result of the outbreak. So, yes, schools keep being delayed. Then, of course, it would be an issue of force majeure. But it's not like they couldn't, keep you on a retainer. It would be, one party or the other could claim it at this point, And I'm, as I totally have sort of put to my employers, that I was willing to end the contract if they felt it was too much of a burden for them. What I think might happen, what I'm predicting now is that, like, if I do stay here on retainer, then what they might do is they might have classes in the summer to make up for it. They might take June and July and decide to schedule makeup classes then. If this is prolonged beyond, March, it's most likely they would do something like that, which that does kind of concern me. Now, videos here. What happened to MedCram? Some of the YouTube things I'm looking at. Another article here. I couldn't find the article, but I think it came through. I think Peak Prosperity mentioned it, that bleach, sodium chlorine, I think it is. That relatively small levels of bleach is being effective in sort of taking care of killing the virus. So I don't have any confirmation on that, so don't take my word for it. But I think it was Peak Prosperity that mentioned it. Who I'm really I really like to advocate this channel is MedCram. This Dr. Seaholt is really doing a great job with talking about exactly kind of what this virus is doing and what the data means, you know. I think he's doing an exceptional job in sort of breaking that down without getting too much involved in sort of the speculative elements of data's of the implications of data, or you know, the veracity of the data. He's taking the data as it is. He's taking his knowledge of viruses. He's taking his knowledge of he's taking his knowledge of the processes of infection, and he's applying that to the coronavirus. And I really think he's doing a great job. I really appreciate his channel. I'd really recommend anybody who wants to know more about this virus, take a look at MedCram and Dr. Seaholt. Here, he goes over the stats. In his latest episode, he talks a little bit about a case, a paper that was recently released. Breaks it down. It's really, I think, an effective. He does a really great job with it. Peak prosperity, I think is also offering very invaluable information. But he also kind of delves into a little more of the accusatory, you know, more of the. He's a little bit. Sometimes it seems to doubt some of the information, or you know, he doesn't take it as very sort of. So without getting too much of it, I think they're both excellent channels to take a look at if you want to, you know, get as much information as you can. That's all I can really tell you. Kind of funny, last night I have time to sit around and watch movies, and I watched this one here on YouTube here. This is a free movie on YouTube. It's called The Crazies. And the funny thing about it to me was that this was a movie that I had taken a clip from my Halloween presentation, and I didn't know the movie. I didn't know what movie it was, and you can see that if you check out my Outtake ESL Halloween presentation, you'll see a clip, and it turns out it's from this movie called The Crazies, and I had really no idea of that. I didn't know it was this movie, but I watched the movie last night, and it's also about an outbreak. It's about a military plane, an American military plane, that had a biological weapon that crashed in this, that was released on this town, and everybody kind of went into Antifa mode. They all went kind of crazy violent, killing each other because they had been infected by this, this biological weapon, which it's just Antifa, the Antifa drug, and so you have this one sheriff and his wife and another sheriff who were sort of stuck in that situation. They're trying to survive, and I thought it was, it's quite. It certainly has a parallel to any sort of disease epidemic happening. So, but the other thing was that I knew about. I was wondering where that clip was coming from the longest time, and now I know. Yippee! The last thing I want to take a look is this guy here. This guy, Dollar Store Dynasty. I was looking at his channel, and he's doing a really interesting job talking about his experiences. I think everybody should check him out. He's maybe he doesn't maybe reads the articles a little too fast, and maybe doesn't use the most. He doesn't really sell the information. He's not like he's not really out there to sell the information. But I really like his channel. He does a really good job. So you should check him out. I definitely recommend him too. All right, that's all I got for you today. Stay safe, stay well, take care. I'm going to ease on out of here. So talk to you next time.